Well, the Big D is back with an NFC West edition on the interwebs today. Before I tell you what I think happens in the NFC West this year, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. Champions League, baseball, football, basketball, golf next week with the U.S. Open. Oof. Also, check out the Big D podcast for audio listeners on Spotify and Apple. So last week, AFC West, today the NFC West, and what this has been a wonky division of late. I mean, there've been great time rivalries. I mean, for a few years that 49ers Seahawks rivalry was one of the best in football. Arizona won the division with Carson Palmer, Bruce Arians. Then LA won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Now might be San Francisco's division, but who knows? I mean, Seattle, the Rams should certainly not be giving up. LA and Arizona might be interesting for what happens in April more than what happens this year. But start with San Francisco, and it seems like the 49ers get close to the Super Bowl, but just can't make it. I mean, the Niners have played in 3 of the last 4 NFC Championship games. One time they beat Green Bay and got to the Super Bowl in Miami, but couldn't beat Mahomes. If you can. And then, of course, this couple of years they've lost NFC Championship games, blew a lead against Stafford Cup and the Rams, and then didn't really have a prayer without a healthy quarterback against the Eagles. But San Francisco looks ready to rumble this year. Obviously, the big question is how will Brock Purdy be, because the Niners gave a lot for Trey Lance a couple years ago. I don't think Trey Lance looks like a Kyle Shanahan quarterback. So I think Brock Purdy would be fine. I mean, yes, he's coming off Tommy John, but this is different than Jacob deGrom. Sorry, New Texas Rangers. Sorry for all the MLB pitchers, but Brock Purdy should be fine. I mean, Carson Palmer underwent the same surgery and still played really well for the Arizona Cardinals several years ago. And Purdy's not really a guy who relies on arm strength. He relies on accuracy, touch passes, and mobility. So he's got enough mobility and accuracy. Well, even if the arms may be a little wonky the first week or two, I think he'll be fine. But when I look at Brock Purdy, he's like that 17-year-old with the hot Corvette or the hot McLaren race car, because his job is simply don't wreck the car. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers have got everything. They've got probably the best running back, certainly the best dual-purpose running back in football, and Christian McCaffrey. Run it, catch it, and sometimes, if need be, throw it. I mean, Christian McCaffrey can do anything, and it seemed like the Niners offense took a major step forward. I mean, no respect to Elijah Mitchell, but Christian McCaffrey's a different sort of cat. I mean, if you guys can do what McCaffrey can, and now with a full off-season, full training camp, Lord knows what he's going to do. Yeah, some injuries, but McCaffrey was healthy last year, and the Niners are going to need him to be healthy. And then offensively, I don't think there's a better left tackle, even at his advanced age, than Trent Williams. That guy is a machine. You cannot rush him. Literally, he'll bowl you over, and then he's got the athleticism and handling the best pass rusher in football. So Trent Williams is really good. George Kittle, I mean, he might not be Travis Kelce receiving wise, but he's the best blocking tight end in football. And toward the end of last season, he caught a lot of touchdowns. Niners don't win some of those games without George Kittle's touchdowns. And it seems like when Kittle gets the ball, good things happen. I mean, might not be what happened in New England and Tampa when Gronk got the ball, but George Kittle gets the energy of the Niner team going for it. And he might not be catching the ball, it might be blocking somebody buddy on a run play because, I mean, Travis Kelce's the best side in football, but you're not going to see him block up the field. George Kittle's got no problem sticking his nose in there and blocking the best defenders. And then wide receiver wise, Debo Samuel can be part receiver, part running back, part return man. Yeah, he's got some injuries. Who doesn't in San Francisco? But I mean, Debo's really good, and Kyle Shanahan can find ways of getting Debo the ball in key times. And Brandon Ayuk, maybe the most unheralded guy, doesn't get the pub of Kittle, Debo, or CMC, can do a lot of everything, be 1,000-1,200-yard receiver, especially in offense, which doesn't really rely on the passing game like Kansas City, Buffalo, or Cincinnati. And then defensively, let's see, Nick Bosa, he's pretty good. Maybe the best pass rusher in all football. Fred Warner, probably the best linebacker in all football. Yeah, the San Francisco 49ers, if you look at them from a roster construction, have probably possess the best roster in football. They also have one of the best offensive minds in football. I think we can all agree Kyle Shanahan can develop plays like few, if anybody, the game has ever seen. Now, I know what fans of San Francisco will say. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. But plenty of great coaches haven't won Super Bowls. Marv Levy never won a Super Bowl. Don Coryell never won a Super Bowl. Bill Cowher forever and ever didn't win a Super Bowl until Super Bowl 40 in Detroit. Dan Reeves never won a Super Bowl. Andy Reid didn't win a Super Bowl in Philadelphia or Kansas City until Mahomes against San Francisco a few years ago. It's hard to win Super Bowls. And would you argue in those games, Sam, that Kyle Shanahan's been in a quarterback deficit? Whether the Super Bowl with the Falcons gave away a 28-3 lead against New England? I think we all agree Tom Brady's better than Matt Ryan. Or the Super Bowl where Jimmy G and the Niners blew a 10-point fourth quarter lead against Mahomes. Or even the 2021 NFC title game where Stafford and the Rams beat Garoppolo. And then last year's NFC title game where the Niners really didn't have a quarterback but most of the second half. So, I mean, there's a lot you like about Purdy. I think the question is, in its quarterback-driven league, are the Niners capable of winning a Super Bowl, a second-round quarterback? Because there's a reason why quarterbacks in the first round seemingly win Super Bowls. They've got more talent. I mean, Pat Mahomes is far more physically gifted than Brock Purdy. And while the Niners seemingly will go with Purdy as their quarterback, if the Niners play Philadelphia, Dallas, or one of these good teams, or heck, make the Super Bowl and face Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, they'd be at a severe quarterback disadvantage. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan might be a genius, but can the Niners win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy? 25, 30 years ago, it was based on a running back and defense, maybe. Now, I'm not sure. Are the Niners favoring to win the NFC West? Yes. Are they the favorite? Can they reach Las Vegas? Yes. And if so, probably have a large fan support, but not sure the Niners are a Super Bowl frontrunner. Heading from the Bay Area to Seattle, where the Seahawks were not sleepers in Seattle last year, but were actually pretty decent. I mean, Pete Carroll traded Russell Wilson, but got Geno Smith to the playoffs. I mean, Geno was really good last year, a lot better than anybody else thought he would be. I think the question is, was that just a one-year fluke, or can Geno be a decent quarterback? Because there's a lot to like about this Seattle team. Kenneth Walker was a really good second-round pick last year. We all know what DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett can do. Adam Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, two good young tackles on either side. And then on defense, Adam Devin Witherspoon is still a little concerned about Seattle's pass rush. But the Seahawks have got a lot of talent. I mean, yeah, more expectations. Everybody's got a year of film with Geno. But it looks like Pete Carroll and John Steiner have done a great job taking the picks from Russell Wilson and making something out of them. And while I don't think Seattle's a Super Bowl team, could they be a playoff team, especially in a weak NFC? Yes. I mean, I don't think the Seahawks are good enough to handle San Francisco. The Seahawks were overmatched in all 3 games last year. And it still have a lot of young pieces, maybe next year, but I think the Seahawks are a potential playoff team, but we'll see. A lot of travel as usual. I think the most interesting team this year will be in the division could be the Rams, because the expectation could be all over the place. Some might have them really high, some might have them really low. I think the question is how healthy and motivated are Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald, because we know what Aaron Donald can do. When Aaron Donald's at his best, there is no better defensive player in all football. Heck, there might not be a better football player, and that includes quarterbacks. But I mean, there have been rumors about him retiring for the last couple of years, even after the Rams won the Super Bowl over Cincinnati a year and a half ago. Secondly, Matt Stafford is on the wrong side of 30. He's dealt with some injuries. And seemingly when he played last year wasn't near his 2021 form. So how healthy will Stafford be? Cooper Kupp's fine. He's fine. I think Cooper Kupp's fine. I mean, before his injury last year, Cooper Kupp was his same self, leading the league in receiving. He was Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, everybody else. And I think Cooper Kupp's fine. I am a little befuddled. The Rams really haven't signed a lot of big free agents. Got a ton of draft picks, but not a first round. I mean, are the Rams going for the playoffs this year? Will they make a move for Dalvin Cook now that the Vikings released him? Or be a playoff team? Or the Rams tanking for Caleb Williams or Drake May? We'll see, because I don't think Sean McVay came back to be a 3-14 team. I think the Rams are going to be competitive this year. Whether they're the same team 2 years ago, goodness knows. I mean, still relying on Aaron Donald. The offensive and defensive lines have got to be better. And the Rams need another wide receiver besides Cooper Kupp, because he can't catch every pass. So we will see what happens. And then Arizona this year, obviously big changes. Cliff Kingsbury gone. New head coach from I believe Jonathan Gannon, the defense coordinator from the Eagles. So big question for Arizona this year is how much, if at all, will Kyler Murray play this year, because towards ACL in December, probably not ready for the start of the year. I think it's a question mark whether he plays even first half of the year, and if the Cardinals are as bad as most people say they are, will Tyler even play this year? Because that's an interesting question in itself. Obviously, Arizona made the big trade with Houston, going back in the draft, then moving to take Paris Johnson, the tackle from Ohio State. So Arizona also released DeAndre Hopkins, so there's big changes there. in potentially a murky quarterback situation. I mean, I don't think Arizona will be that good anyway. I mean, but if you look at Arizona wise, if the Cardinals are struggling, do you play Kyle Murray? Because that could be the difference in winning or losing a couple games. I mean, if the Cardinals win this year, and Kyle looks fine, do they cut bait with Kyle? Do they keep him? Or potentially look at getting Caleb Williams or Drake May? Because with how bad Arizona's likely to be, they could get one of the quarterbacks. And also, you look at even if the Cardinals, if Kyler Murray looks like his old self, could the Cardinals potentially look at getting Marvin Harrison? Because Marvin Harrison's probably going to be a top 3 or 4 pick in the next April's draft. So I think Arizona's going to be a weird team. Might be a team you look at as a tanking team. Might be a team. If you're in DFS circles, you play a lot of people against. Maybe if you played them, if you're week 17, you've got the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're in a meaningful game against Arizona. Might be a team I fly on because I don't think Arizona will be that great this year. I think the Cardinals are going to be one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the league. I've got something funny, so I'm trying to think. Without Alex today, what would be a fun game to remember? How about the 2016 6-6 tie between the Seahawks and Cardinals? And you know what was weird about that team? I think there were 3 missed kicks. I mean, Chandler Canizal missed one, missed the chip shots. Then I remember Steven Hauskett missing a chip shot. It was crazy. It was weird. Nobody did anything that game. That was a game we thought could shoot out, and instead it turned into the Washington kickers missed chip shot field goals. It was just odd, but it was a crazy primetime game, and I'm thinking, what is going on? That's a game I want to remember, and then I don't want to remember at the same time. So there are some meaningful primetime games. I mean, you want to remember, I think being a Jag fan, anybody could remember the 27-0 comeback against the Chargers. The Seattle Arizona game might not be that way if you're in the desert or the Pacific Northwest. So, who do I see winning the NFC West? This is San Francisco's division. The Niners have got the best coach, best roster. While Brock Purdy might not be Joe Montana, I think the 49ers are going to win this division convincingly. I think Seattle could be decent. Seattle and LA could be decent, and then the Cardinals are going to be at the bottom of the barrel looking at the #1 pick. So I like San Francisco to win this division. If the Niners stay healthy and get a home field throughout the playoffs, that'd be a big difference playing an NFC title game in Santa Clara than playing in Philadelphia or Arlington. But thank you for tuning in to today's NFC West preview, and I'll be back with more soon.